Welcome back to another video. My name is Christian Thayer, and in this week's video, we are going to be talking about Instagram story highlights. For those of you that aren't familiar, when you go to somebody's Instagram profile, right, when you can see all of the photos that they've ever posted, if you've ever came across a profile that has like those little circles underneath their profile photos, but above all of like their newsfeed photos, and you're like, how do I get those? Those look cool. Those are basically a culmination of that user's Instagram stories. And they have basically just curated and categorized the certain stories, and they've made them viewable to the public forever. Because as stories work, much like Snapchat, Instagram stories are gone in 24 hours. So if you don't see those, if you don't see what they posted in those 24 hours, or you followed them, on this date, but you have no idea what they posted prior. So what I'm trying to say is, this video is going to be teaching you how to get those little circles, how to make your highlights, and pick and choose which ones go where, and then B, bonus tip, if you will, is sometimes if you go on a page and you will see that it's almost like the little circle covers of the highlights have been designed, or they all match, or they just look good, right? Because when you just make your highlights and you pick your stories, it's just going to choose whichever photo it wants, and that will be the little circle photo on your profile. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of an inside tutorial, more advanced, if you will. It's nothing crazy, don't get freaked out. If you want to personalize your Instagram story covers. So without further ado, let's get into how to create a story highlight. Okay, so as you can see, here is my Instagram profile page, right? Nothing you haven't seen before. This is, I don't know, like the second or third video where you've seen it. Clearly I haven't posted a whole lot. We're in quarantine, what else am I supposed to do? So, as you can see here, right below the three little buttons that say Edit Profile, Promotions, and Insights, you have what's called Story Highlights. And there's nothing there because I don't have any. So, all the way to the right on Story Highlights is a little down arrow. You're going to want to click that, and it's going to give you the option to add some stories. So because I don't have any, I'm going to press the plus button under New, and it's going to bring up all of my past stories. Nothing crazy here. I go on a lot of walks, so that's primarily what I'm doing. So let's just say that I wanted to choose this one, this one, this one, and this one. These are like all landscapes, if you will, so that's what I'm going to create. This story highlight will be titled Landscapes, because those are just the ones that I want. So up in the top right corner, I'm going to click Next. And as you can see, it randomly just chose whichever photo it wanted to be the cover. Now, I'm not going to change the cover right now. I'm just going to get it over with. So you have to name what your highlight is. And so for this one, I'm just going to do Landscapes because. And that's that. And then all you have to do is up in the top right corner, you press Add. And bada boom, bada bing, you now have a story highlight titled Landscapes. I know I'm teaching you, this is basically rocket science here. I get it, I'm aware. So that's easy. Now for you guys, it can be, if you guys post stories of, listings that just sold, or office life, or whatever, I don't know. It also doesn't have to be real estate related. Now, mind you, remember, stories are kind of the behind the scenes aspect on Instagram, and they don't, or just your life. They don't always have to be real estate related. So that, who cares if you have a story highlight called Family, or if you have a story highlight called At the Office, or whatever you've posted on your stories. If you can try and lump them all together, that's independent. That's going to be, I can't really do that for you because I don't know what your stories are. Now, mind you, these are only for stories. You can't go and click and put posts into these stories highlights. So when I went and chose which photos I wanted to be in there, I was only choosing from my stories. It was not giving me the option to go into my news feed with the photos that I actually publish, that I want them to be there forever. It does not give you that option. It only gives you the option to choose stories. Okay, so now let's say we want to get crazy and we want to design our own little circle, little story highlight that makes it just look more professional. Right, it kind of ties it all together, especially if you have more than one and you have like a theme. That's great. However, if you don't want to do this, or if it scares you, that's fine. Don't let creating a custom little circle graphic deter you from doing this at all, okay? Please. Okay, so the easiest way to create your little circle graphic is a place called canva.com. If you are unfamiliar, you're gonna get familiar. It's very easy, it's free, it's basically design software that professionals like me use, but it's kind of easy and templated for a non-experienced user, such as possibly yourself. So it gives you a couple options to sign in Google, Facebook, email. It's not that hard. I'm just gonna log in because I already have an account. Okay, so this is the home page, right? This is what it's gonna look like, and you're thinking, wow, this is ridiculous, what am I looking for? What you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna search Instagram story. And so now it's going to give you the dimensions of what an Instagram story will look like. However, we're not going to be creating an Instagram story. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be clicking top left is going to be the blank one. It's going to be like create your own. And we click that. And then it's going to bring you to this page where, again, looks scary. I get it. It's not, I promise. You're then going to want to go over here on the left and choose elements, because that's going to be like the graphics and stuff. So, for example, for you guys, depending on what you're doing, you're just going to have to figure it out. For me, let's say I want to go back and do the landscape one. Now, not the trick, but just something to keep in mind with Canva is that it's sort of like a pay to play for some things. Like, they give you some things for free, but then other things they want you to pay because that's how they make money. I don't pay, so therefore I am limited to the free stuff. So I just typed in landscape because I'm going to be looking for a landscape cover, and ooh, this one looks good actually. I like that one. And we're going to choose that, and it's going to plop it right on there. And that's great. You don't need to rearrange it. You don't need to do anything. The size should be good. Now let's say that I wanted to change this background color, because sometimes people would prefer more poppy, vibrant colors. It just makes it, look better. What you can do is you click on the actual background and you can see this blue bounding box to indicate that it's clicked. And then you'll go up here with this background color tool, and it will basically give you some default colors of what you might want. So let's try that orange out. It's not bad, not bad. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for. Oh, that's not terrible. I know all these colors suck. I don't hate that color. Okay. I don't love the color, but I don't hate the color. I'm just doing this for an example. Now let's say that you didn't like any of these colors that they gave you though, right? Up here, it gives you the option to basically, create. Ooh, well, that wasn't bad. Bingo. It gives you the option to create your, find a more detailed color. So that's what I did. So now that you're done, you now have to download the graphic. And up in the top right corner, it's going to give you the option, download. And it's going to be a PNG. Don't worry about that. That's exactly what you want. And then you click download. And then it's going to say, congratulations, you did it. You're amazing. And so basically where it then sent the downloaded image would be wherever you have it set to on your computer. So for me, it goes straight into my downloads because that makes sense. Now, the tricky part that is very dependent on you and what you're using, as well as what phone you have, is getting the graphic that you then just created onto your phone. You can do this a couple different ways. If you have a Mac laptop and an Apple phone, you can AirDrop it. You can email it. You can text it to yourself. There's really a bunch of different ways to figure out how to get it to yourself. So figure that out. It shouldn't be hard. Worst case scenario, you email it to yourself and you open up the email on your phone. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so we have successfully transferred the graphic from my computer to our phone. Now we're back on Instagram. We're back on the profile. And I want to now update the cover photo for my landscape cover highlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the actual highlight to view the stories. And down on the bottom right, it's going to give you the three little dots with more. You're going to want to press that. And then you're going to want to click Edit Highlight. From there, it's, say you want to remove a story or whatever, you can do that. You can change the name, all of that fun stuff with that same action. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click Edit Cover, which then you can choose which photo you want, or if you don't want that and you want to use the graphic that you just created, next to it is going to be this little square with a mountain and maybe like a moon or a sun. Not entirely sure what that is. And you click that and it's going to bring up your photos because that's where your image should be saved. And the first one should be your graphic. And if you want to increase or decrease the size, you can do so by pinching and then moving around. And so that's kind of where I want that one to be. And then you click done. And you're like, that's awesome, sweet. You click done again. Another done. And then you exit out. And that is now what it looks like. There are plenty of other different options and routes. Like if you don't want to use a graphic, you can use like a scripted little word to describe what you're saying. It just depends, whatever you're feeling. But don't let the custom graphic deter you from actually making the highlights. If you don't want the highlight cover photo, that's great. Just make the highlights. So that's been this week's video. Hopefully it didn't get too long, but hopefully it was also informative. So until then, stay safe, get some exercise, and wash your hands.